Hello! Today's video is all about scale. Now, to get to grips with scale, you need to make sure that you're comfortable with two key skills. The first one being converting between units of measurement. So what I mean by that is, can you take millimetres to centimetres? Do you understand how many millimetres are in a centimetre? Do you understand how to take centimetres back to millimetres and convert millimetres to centimetres? Do you understand how many centimetres are in a metre? And can you take centimetres and turn them into metres, or take a metre amount and turn it back into centimetres? It's also a good idea to be able to understand metres to kilometres as well. Now, looking at these charts here, I can see that if I wanted to take centimetres to millimetres, I would times it by 10. This is because there are 10 millimetres to every centimetre. If I wanted to take millimetres and convert them into centimetres, I would divide by 10. Very often with these conversions, if you get into your head that it's either going to be a multiply by 10 or a multiply by 100 or a multiply by 1000, you've got the sort of right idea there. But it is really, really important you know how to do these conversions, or these questions are going to be extra complicated. So do you want to have a practice of that before we get started? Let's have a look at some questions. Have a go, pause the video, and let's see how you get on. And there are your answers. So as you can see, every time I had millimetres, I divided by 10. Every time I had centimetres to millimetres, I multiplied by 10. Can get a bit confusing as you go down, but always read it back to yourself afterwards, and that's a really good sort of common sense check, because you'll know if you've got it wrong. If you say something like 1,250 millimetres is 12,500 centimetres, hopefully that'll trigger and you'd go, hold on, got it wrong there. So we're now ready to have a look at some scale questions. The other key skill you are going to need to master before you do this, and you can see it straight away on this diagram that we have here, is ratio. Scales are all about ratio, and ratio is how one number relates to another. So on this one, for every 1, I've got 1,250. If you're not confident on ratio, please stop this video now and go and watch the ratio video that we've got on our channel, and that will hopefully help you when it comes to do these questions. So let's have a look. This is a City and Guilds example question of scale that you might get at level 2. Starts off with real life situation. An estate agent needs to know the area of plot of building land. This plan shows the building land. The scale is at 1 to 1,250. Now this throws a lot of people, because they go, well, what do you mean 1 to 1,250? 1 what? So the important thing to do here is look at what unit of measurement they're working in. So they're working in millimetres. So on this map, for every 1 millimetre on the plan, there are 1,250 millimetres in real life. And that's how scales work. It's a way of putting large items onto paper in a way that doesn't create massive diagrams. So for every millimetre on my plan, the real life would be 1,250 millimetres. Now, they want us to calculate the area of the building land. On the exam question, they asked for this answer in metres squared. That's the unit of measurement that they want. So there will be a conversion that will need to be done to calculate this. But first things first, what I need to do is use the scale to work out what the dimensions are of this building land. Now I can see it's a rectangle, so working out the area should be quite straightforward, because for a rectangle, it's length times width. So I've got 60 millimetres on the plan. So to calculate that dimension, I would do 16 multiply. So I've got 16 of these, 1,250. Now this is a calculator paper, so you are allowed to use a calculator for this calculation. And this calculates to 20,000. It's quite a large amount, and this is why maps usually aren't written in millimetres. Okay, so the other one we would do, the other dimension, 66 millimetres, I would do exactly the same. 66 times 1,250. Type it into the calculator, and the answer that I get is 82,500. Okay, so we've got a couple of things going on here now. These amounts are in millimetres, and we need to convert to metres. We also need to calculate the area of the rectangle. I'm not going to do this while I've got figures as big as this, because the answer's just getting a bit out of hand, isn't it? Now, some people would feel comfortable going straight from millimetres to metres, mm to m. I find a lot of apprentices find that jump a little bit too much at once. So I tend to find that most people will go millimeters to centimeters because that's the easier one, and then centimeters to meters. And that's absolutely fine. If that's what you want to do, that works brilliant. Okay, so taking these dimensions, doing those conversions, 20,000 millimeters, when you change it to centimeters, will become 2,000 centimeters. And 82,500 will become 8,250. And that's because to get from millimeters to centimeters, I divide by 10, don't I? So now I need to take my centimeter amounts to meters. And to do that, I'm going to divide by 100 because there are 100 centimeters in a meter. So 2,000 divided by 100, you might know this mentally already, or you might do like I do and move the decimal place twice to then divide by 100. So that boils down to 20 meters and 82.5 meters. So those are our two dimensions. To finally answer the question, we would multiply them together to get the area. So 20 times 82.5, and the answer that comes out at that point is 1,650 meters squared. So several steps to this question. You do get marks for correctly using the scale to calculate. If you got to the 20,000 stage and the 82,500 stage, you would get marks recognising you'd used that scale correctly. But obviously to get full marks, you've then got to calculate the area of that rectangle. So how did you find that one? Some people find that one quite hard, but it's just finding the steps and then working through them. Another example of a different question. Pause the video and have a go. Can you answer this question? Okay, so are you ready? A map has a scale of 1 to 25,000. Brian records that his route this morning covered 6.5 centimetres on the map. How far did he walk? Show your working. And we want the answers in kilometres. Very important to note what unit they want there. Okay, so if he's walked 6.5 centimetres on the map, that is the unit of measurement that this scale is working in, unless it is declared otherwise. Unless they say the map has a scale of 1 centimetre to 2.5 metres, that is what that scale means. 1 centimetre is the same as 25,000 centimetres. Okay, so he's walked 6.5 centimetres on the map. So to work out how far he's gone in terms of centimetres using this scale, I'd do 6.5 times 25,000. Again, I could use calculator on this question, so that's absolutely fine. My answer when I type that in comes in at 162,500. But of course, this is in centimetres and they want the answer in kilometres. Now again, if you're confident, you might be able to jump straight from centimetres to kilometres and that jump is no problem to you. But I tend to find most learners I work with, that is just too much, they can't handle it. If you need to take it in steps, that's absolutely fine. So if you want to go centimetres to metres and then metres to kilometres, as long as you get to the right place, it really doesn't matter. Okay, so I'm going to do it the way that I would see most of my learners doing it. So to take centimetres to metres, I need to divide by 100 because of that, as we talked about in the other question, there's 100 centimetres to a metre. So that one becomes 1,625 metres because dividing it by 100, it's gone 1,625 metres. Now, I know conversion-wise, for every kilometre I've got, I have 1,000 meters. Kilo tends to work with that, so kilograms is 1,000 grams, kilometers 1,000 meters. So to work out how many kilometers I've got, I'm going to divide it by 1,000 because that's what conversion we've got here. So I can do that on my calculator, or if I had to do this mentally, I would go 1, 2, 3, divide by 1,000, 3 zeros, 3 jumps, 1, 2, 3. So that becomes 1.625 kilometers. I hope you found this video helpful. I'm going to record another video that shows you a question that flips this on its head and you actually have to create the plan and choose the scale yourself. So if you want some help with that, have a look at the other video too. Until next time.